Yes, sir.
Saw in the news, the Ron Barber, all the progressive Democrats are in the process of putting together their platform for the upcoming Democratic convention, and they're in the process of putting together a provision to provide federal approval of same-sex marriage. What I'm wondering is how each of you view same-sex marriage and the DOMA Act, Defense of Marriage Act.
Marriage is between a man and a woman, and that was codified in DOMA, and we don't need to repeal it. Thank you.
I do believe that marriage is between one woman and one man. And I do believe it's primarily a state issue for states to work out. The Defense of Marriage Act was passed, and that's now federal law. I do believe, again, it's a focus of states, and we've had decisions among many of the states across the nation in that regard. And again, my focus is going to be on the economy and the debt and affordable health care and securing our border. But I do believe marriage should be between one woman and one man.
This district here in Arizona is one of the major suppliers of illegal drugs coming from Mexico, and there is a labyrinth of about 700 miles of tunnels underneath Nogales coming into our Nogales. So do you have any idea how this might be able to, how you might be able to staunch this flow of illegal drugs?
Well, we talked about securing the border. Obviously, that's kind of from the surface up. But having intelligence as to where these tunnels are starting and where they're coming through is also a part of securing the border. Thanks for bringing that up, Garland. But it's about intelligence. So we need to have an understanding of where those tunnels are being built and have awareness, situational awareness as to where they're going through. We keep discovering new ones that are incredibly sophisticated. So that is a part of our intelligence-driven operations that we need to do, because it's not just the domain of land and air, it's also, subsurface at this point. But I think if we've got the right intelligence and the right assets that are focused on it, we will also be able to address the underground activity. The other element that you didn't address in your question, but you hear a lot of discussion on, is the demand, right? We've got the demand here because we've got a serious drug problem here. I've served on the board of directors of Teen Challenge, which is a faith-based drug and alcohol recovery program. It's highly effective here in Tucson, and I've supported this program for over 15 years. And I'll tell you, I think that is a community, that is a family, that is a church level issue that we really need to get at. Many of you in the room, I'm sure, have someone you know and someone you love who has been impacted by addiction. And it's very serious business, and it's very destructive. That is not the role of the federal government to be fighting that demand issue or giving up on it, but it is a role of all of us in our communities to be able to do what we can to address it so that people are not making those choices and they're able to get the help they need so that demand goes down. And I see near and dear, I've seen the destruction as I've served in Teen Challenge, but I've also seen the redemption that comes when people are able to turn their lives around through community-based efforts. So I very much support that through my own time and my own pocketbook. So.
Well, I know how we deal with, the little critters that dig holes all around your property, right? There's lots of suggestions about that. Stick a hose in there, fill it with cement, put little explosives or whatever, right? But I think under it all, no pun intended, that we do have the three issues that we're dealing with: jobs, the economy, and border security. And in this case, we talk about what's underneath. We start not at the ground level, but we start below that. And again, we need to start with the intelligence, as we mentioned, and we need to find out, 4 new tunnels were discovered in the last couple of months. Because even if you have a fence, people can go over it, under it, through it, or whatever. And so you've highlighted that. Once we find those things, we need to make sure they're sealed up and deal with it. But the three issues, jobs, economy, and border security, are all intertwined here. As we start to fix one of those problems, it makes it easier to fix all the others. And that's what we need to do. And I think both of us are going to be focused on those 3 key items. So, we just need to find them, plug them, and keep after them.
I think this be our last question, and then we will have our, is it a 3-minute?
Listed as 5.
5
No,
minutes?
just
5
5 minutes.
minute indeed.
Yeah.
So this will be our last question. You already
Yes.
had your turn, so let's get a new hand.
Oh, all right.
Okay, who's got,
This-
do we have the guy in the green shirt? No.
Nope, we have not.
Okay,
This gentleman
then it
in the
could be
green
him.
shirt.
The current administration has taken away a lot of our liberties. What we do to
Can't hear the question.
The current administration has taken away a lot of our individual liberties. What would you do to try to reinstate some of them?
I think it's me.
Yeah, too, sorry.
Yes, they have. They will continue to do that. We need to make sure that we are alert to every time they try to do that. Back when the Constitution was being debated, there was a contingency from New York that, even though New York was late to sign the Declaration of Independence, there were several people on their contingent who were basically focused on that issue of individual liberties and how are we going to set up a constitution. They were concerned that the Constitution we had was going to allow for too much government overreach. But some wise guys, Hamilton and Madison, said in Federalist 57, no way, that's not going to happen, don't worry about it. Because as soon as the people tolerate anything but liberty, we're all going to be doomed, and they're not going to do that. But guess what? That's where we are, okay? It's happened. It's been happening. So we need to reverse it by getting liberty-minded people into Congress to combat this, and even more, we need to make sure that we are successful at the executive level as well with the president and the vice president. So it is up to us. It is up to us as we the people to inform our neighbors, inform our friends, inform our family, get active, vote, be responsible with it, and help turn that tide back towards liberty and away from a ever-expanding federal government. So how I would do that is be a supporter, strong supporter and advocate for those ideas.
As I mentioned earlier, the oath of office you take as a congressman is the same as an officer, and I'll recite it real quick because it's very important. I will, Martha McSally, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I'm about to enter. So help me God. That is the same oath. And our liberties are founded in our Constitution. And so every law, every policy, everything needs to be looked at to make sure that it's constitutional. And I plan to uphold that oath when I get there. I take it very seriously. I put my career on the line for it. I put my life on the line for it. And that's why I'm running for office.
Okay, 5-minute closing statements. You acquiesce to her, so you're gonna go.
I go first.
All right, go right on.
I hope we can make the government simpler than... All right. Again, my name is Mark Koskanemi. Somebody told me that when you do a call, you need to make sure you say your name 3 times so they get it. So my name is Mark Koskanemi, Mark Koskanemi, Mark Koskanemi. All together?
Mark Koskanemi.
Thank you. And I'm the nice guy with the good ideas. Okay. With more than 2 decades in the private sector, helping businesses be successful, helping the business that I was in be successful. Okay, that's what businesses are longing for now. They want people in government who can help them be successful, who can combat departments like the EPA, the IRS, the Department of Labor. Okay, as your representative, if I am elected, I've got a big little chart back there that says the first order of business when we bring in something that day is we ask the question, does this reduce the size of the federal government and or return power to the states or the people? And if it does, guess what? We're gonna do it. If it doesn't, then we need to make sure that it's a proper and necessary use of the powers under the Constitution. And if it is, then, and we need to do it right now, then we're gonna do it. If we don't need to do it right now, then we're gonna check it and make sure that we're gonna have a discussion with constituents to say, is it something that can be done outside of the federal system? Do we have to do it at the federal level? Is there a way to pay for it that doesn't increase the deficit or the debt? Is it something that increases our social, military, or economic security? And does it create jobs? Will it help boost businesses and the economy? If it passes that muster, then we ask the final question. Is it the will of the people? And if it is, guess what? We're going to do it. If it isn't, it's going in the trash. If it didn't pass the first test of whether it's a necessary and proper use of our powers under the Constitution, you can bet it's going in the trash. So what I offer to you is a framework of how we're going to do it going forward that I think will serve you well, serve the people of District 2, and remain focused on that, jobs, the economy, and border security. So I thank you for your time, thank you for your consideration, and I'd like to thank you for your vote coming up here in the primary and on in the general election. But just curious, how many people have already voted? Everybody here, so I don't know what we're wasting our time for, right? But anyway, very good. God bless you all. Thank you for coming, and Martha, final words.
I'm the youngest of 5 kids, and when I was 12 years old, my dad died very suddenly. He had a heart attack. We were hanging out together one day, and he had a heart attack that night, and I got to speak to him in between heart attacks. He had another heart attack the next morning, and he died. I had no idea really what was even going on when I spoke to him, and I had no idea it would be the last time I talked to him. And in that conversation, before my life was turned upside down, among other things, my dad told him to make him proud. And I have a fire in my belly to make a difference. And I have tried to make every day matter as if it could be my last. It's the way I was formed, it's the way I was shaped. My dad came from very humble circumstances and gave a wonderful example of someone who through hard work, service to his country in the military, a good education, and ethical standards, served his community, his family, and his country in order to be able to hand the next generation a better place. We're at that juncture where we need to make sure we're handing the next generation a better place. And the fiber of who I am is formed from those values I was given. My mom then went back to work, by the way, as a widow of 5, went back to school, went back to work, and served as an educator until she retired at the age of 77. I mean, this is what I was made of. I came to Tucson in 1994 for my first assignment here, and I bought my house in Rita Ranch, and I fell in love with the place. I have been blessed to have had 4 military assignments at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, and I got to serve this community when I worked on Senator Kyle's staff. My home is here, my heart is here, my church is here, my neighbors and my community are here, and I am here to serve you again. We are in a very critical time as a nation and as a community. We have very serious problems that we're facing, and we're at a critical juncture. We need somebody representing CD2 who has a proven record, the experience, the education, and the leadership that is shown to make things happen, even at a personal cost, which is what I have done, in order to stand up for what's right, serve, and lead at this critical time. We've got to win this election, and we need someone who has the right profile, and the right message, and the right funds in order to do that. I need your support. I can win in November. I'm Martha McSally. My website is marthamcsally.com. We have to come together as a team to solve these complex problems, to move us forward. There's too much at stake, and I need your support. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you to the both of you for coming out and enduring the heat. We apologize for that.
We're used to it.
So next month we